Hi there, everybody. You are watching the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage YouTube channel. And today I wanted to show you my installation or installation process for a new belt. Now, when I go through sewing machines, I don't just clean them off and squirt some oil in them and see if the needle goes up and down. That doesn't mean they are fully operational. Some of you who have bought vintage machines from people, sellers, often they will say, oh, it runs great. And most of the time, I would say the vast majority of the time, those people simply don't know. Now, some people might be embellishing a bit, but most of the people I've gotten machines from over the years, they think either they have something rare or they don't. They just want it out of their way. They heard it runs. They don't know anything about sewing machines or sewing. And so to their eye, they plug it in and they, maybe the light comes on or doesn't. They may not even know where the light switch is. So give them the benefit of the doubt. But in spite of that, you need to check the machine out, okay? So that you may end up thinking it's a great machine. It doesn't mean you shouldn't buy the machine, but you need to consider the price they're asking once, they may not even realize that the belt needs replacing, okay? So when I purchased this machine, I just kind of assumed, because I've had to go out and lay out money to get machines for the channel. I've been looking and searching and rescuing machines for so long, I typically know that there's a decent chance I'm going to have to replace the belt. There are exceptions. Sometimes the belt's in fine shape. So let's do this. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to unplug this. This is our plug, okay? And it's in beautiful shape. It's the classic Singer plug and pronged outlet, or terminal as Singer calls it. I need this out of my way, and I also don't want the machine plugged in. Why is that? Because while you're doing all of this, you could easily, by mistake, step on a foot pedal or push a knee pedal, and you don't want this moving when you're doing this procedure. So let's not even make that possible. Okay, so one of the great things I love about vintage machines, especially from this era, is that changing a belt is a very simple thing. And the original owners of these machines, the old belts that they came with lasted a long time. They were made of, usually, they were made not unlike car tires. They were made of rubber, high quality rubber. And that rubber was often reinforced with some sort of cording, just like tires were and still are actually. But even those belts over time would eventually age. Soft materials don't typically last for generations. They can last decades. So I went and I purchased belts, and I got these off of the eBay accounts. If you're curious as to where that is, please watch my video that I brought out when we relaunched the channel. I have a video on where I buy parts for sewing machines. And one of the places I get parts, especially reproduction parts like belts, for example, is there are a couple of sellers on eBay that I use. That's my preference. You may have other places, but that's mine. Now, there are two ways I go about getting belts. You're hearing me opening up this package because it literally, it just came in the mail. It took a couple of weeks because I ordered it straight from the supplier. When you go onto eBay, you have an option. You can order sewing machine belts from people who get them from overseas. All of these belts are made in China that I'm aware of. I'm not aware that they're made anywhere else. If you know of a different country, let me know. Anyway, people go on and they buy them from resellers. Well, the resellers get them from wholesalers in China, but you can go onto eBay and just get them straight from those wholesalers. They may not be the manufacturer, but they're the supplier that's getting them out of that country into North America. So you'll find that the price is much lower. Now, there are times when I need a belt quickly. I may have a client and I'm working on one of their machines and they're waiting, and I may say to the client, look, I can get the belt for a couple of bucks, $2 or $3 a piece. If I order them from the supplier, when I order them, I order them more than one. I don't just order one at a time. And I think you can order one at a time from these suppliers. I think I ordered 5. We'll find out when I open this package up. So you can order them that way, and it takes, I think this took 2 weeks or so, 2 business weeks. Or if I need it fast, like when I have someone else's machine and they're waiting, I just go to the local sewing dealer. We have a fantastic dealer here locally, and I go in there and they have a number of belts on hand. Now, they may not have every size, but they have quite a few. And a lot of times, if they have it, I just buy it from them. And that's usually, I don't know if it's $10, $12, but usually the owner of the machine, if they're having me go through their machine, they don't care. They don't, to pay, to save $8 or something is $8 or $9 is, do they want to wait the 2 weeks? Sometimes they say, just get go ahead and get it locally. When I get parts for sewing machines, I don't mark them up. I just, whatever the cost is. In fact, these belts are inexpensive because I bought them wholesale. That doesn't even factor in, right? If I have to replace a belt or a felt washer like this one here that's underneath the thread spool at the base of the spool pin, I don't charge at all because their cost is fairly low. The greatest value that I'm providing to people is the service of the restoration and the overhaul, right? Because of all the time that is spent doing that. There are occasions, usually with European brands, where I have to get parts that are really expensive, and I always tell the client, if they're bringing one of those to me, that if we need parts, it could add up to some dollars. But I always look at the machine thoroughly and give them that. I tell them that ahead of time so they can decide, do you want to go forward with the restoration or, you let me know. But for something like a Singer like this, and because this is one of my rescues, so I don't have a client waiting on this. I have to find a client that will take it. And so I just ordered the belts because I didn't mind waiting. I have other machines to work on. So what do we have here? It says, gift for you, needle threader. It's a needle threader. Okay, well, that was nice. I don't need a needle threader, but in fact, whoever gets this machine for me, I'll just include it. Why not? It can be nice to have. I'm pretty nearsighted, so I'm not too shabby at threading needles, but never say never, right? Okay, so what I got was I ordered 2 different sizes of motor belt. And these belts are typically in this sort of amber orange color. That's what they typically look like. Okay, they don't really include an invoice, and that's fine because I have the digital copy of that invoice. Okay, so back to the matter at hand. We need to get access here so that we can get to our belt. And I was telling you how wonderfully simple Singer made this. So the first thing I'm going to do, you do not have to remove your hand wheel normally. Okay, so what am I going to do? I'm going to loosen this bolt, this big giant bolt, because this bolt holds a bracket, and the bracket is what the motor is attached to. So I don't even need to take the bolt all the way off. This is an adjustable bracket. Okay, it has a slot, and within that slot, the bracket can travel. And if your bracket is not sliding, it could be that you haven't loosened the bolt enough. Like, okay, now I should be able to. Let's loosen it a little bit more. Okay, so your bracket is designed to go up and down. You can see it moving like that, right? So normally, somewhere around the center of the slot, give or take, I snug the bolt down. This is designed to allow you to, one, loosen the belt so you can get it off, but when we go to put the new belt on, you'll see me using this. It's a very simple but very effective way to adjust the tension on the belt. So let's say you get a belt that's 1/8 of an inch shorter or 1/8 of an inch longer. You have some wiggle room. Now, you don't have a lot of bandwidth you can't go crazy with a different size. But if you're close, sometimes that bracket, it really helps you. But to get the belt loose, to get it off, I'm going to push the bracket all the way up again. I don't need to take this bolt all the way off. And look at that. See how loose the belt is? and it comes right off. So that's the first thing I do is I take it off the little pulley wheel on the motor, and I'm going to come back this way to show you. Now, when you're, excuse me, when you are facing the side and you take the belt off, you're like, hey, it won't come off. What's fighting me? Do not pull hard. Okay, do not do that. Just come over here and you'll see, right? The belt will slip. Notice it's on its pulley track. The groove of the pulley, remember your hand wheel is a pulley. When I say pulley, that's what your hand wheel basically is. It's a giant pulley. And your belt sits in its pulley groove on this particular model right here where my thumb is. You can see the belt. Okay, so now that the belt is off the motor, it loosens up and you can pull it and it will slide right here. You guys see that spot right there? There's a gap. If I put the belt back on the pulley, get back on there for a moment, please. Thank you. There is a gap, right? There's a little bit of space right here. Now, you want to make sure that your bobbin winder mechanism, that if you're grabbing a hold of this thing, you don't want it down like that, because then you really can't get the belt off. But when you're changing your belt, your bobbin winder mechanism should not be engaged. So this lever should be up, okay? Should be at its highest position. And then I'm going to simply take, get a little zoom there, change our angle. Okay, so I'm simply going to take my belt, which is nice and loose because the motor's not holding on to it anymore. And notice I'm going to slide it toward myself, keeping it flat, right? So here it is on the pulley groove. I lift out, I slide it toward the rim of the hand wheel, still flat, and then I'm going to turn it up. I'm going to turn it on its side, and it comes right out. Now, if yours fights you, yes, you can remove your bobbin tire, which will give you a little more room, but I didn't even have to do that, right? Came right out. It's designed to be that simple, okay? You don't have to have done it many times, but if it's your first time, I'm hoping that, going slowly. Sometimes when I'm trying to learn something, like I need to figure out something on my computer, for example, if I'm going online and watching someone and they just talk so fast and they move so fast, I'm like, slow down. So that's one of the reasons I try to go slow. Now, so you have your belt, and maybe you know the exact size, or maybe you don't remember. We can tell that this belt is, it's been on that machine for a while, because you can see the shape, right? Here's the shape. You can see the shape of the large pulley of the hand wheel, and then it kind of comes to it's sort of distorted, a little more narrow for the little pulley on the motor. So remember, this belt is not the worst I've ever seen. In fact, if I pull it up here to the light, you guys can see, the inner part of the belt seems to be okay. But let's test, right? Let's look. When you bend the belt, do you guys see that? Do you see the little cracks forming? That means that the belt is tired. And you know what? This belt doesn't owe us anything. It could be the original belt, or maybe it was replaced in 1965. This belt has served well, right? And yeah, it still works. It's not going to break tomorrow. Usually there's a joint area here. Looking to see, sometimes the joint where the belt ends are joined together, sometimes it'll start to come apart. This one is still there. You can see it. I don't know if you guys can see the little angled slit there. That's where the belt is joined. It's still working, and it says, I don't know if you guys can make this out. It says Singer on it. So this is an old belt. The reason I'm going to replace this belt is because I know that because I'm seeing cracks, I have seen belts somehow survive and they have no cracks, and I use them. I tell the buyer, just use the belt. It's got that wonderful high quality rubber belt, and if it ever goes, we can get you a belt. Belts are cheap, they're easy to put on. In fact, I could tell the buyer, I could even say, hey, here's where to get a belt, or come by and I'll give you a belt, and they can put it on themselves. It's really that simple, right, on these machines. So you can see. Now, you might say, well, can't you get more mileage out of this? I could, but when you see the cracks, that means you're going to start seeing, it's just a matter of time, you're going to see crumbling, little crumbles, little black rubber dust, and that is not something you want on your machine. You don't want it in the motor, so just go ahead and change the belt. Why not? All right, so I have two belt sizes here, and on my invoice are the two sizes I ordered. And since I don't have it in front of me, I don't need it. There's a very simple way. Let's see here. Just going to open up the package. I like to order from the supplier, and I think I ordered two sizes. I knew which one was for the Singer 99, but I knew I would need the other size for other machines, and I figured, well, why not just get them out, get them sent over here. Okay. Now, this one is the larger. This one here is, I think it's like a ½ inch difference. So this is the larger one, and if I hold it up, and this is sort of a spitballing thing here, but if you notice, right, it may be slightly smaller. It's similar in size to this one, because one of these that I ordered should be the exact size. Okay. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 5, and I think it was like $12 for 5 or $14 or something. Really, really reasonable in this day and time. Okay. Now, one of the things you can also look for, these belts are, this material, this rubbery looking stuff is actually, I think, a form of polyurethane, which I think may even be cheaper than rubber. I like to get rubber belts when I can, but I can't get those in all sizes. If you have a Singer featherweight, they still make them for that because there's a demand. But in here, I don't know if you can tell, but there's strands of something. There is a fiber that's running in here to give it strength. And then it has what these are called lugs, L-U-G, and these are just little. They look like little gear teeth. Now you don't have any gears on your hand wheel pulley or this pulley, but you don't need them. They work beautifully. Okay, so, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, this is the larger size. The other size is going to be smaller. So I ordered this based on my knowledge of the size of a Singer motor belt. What am I looking at? I'm looking at a Singer belt, but that doesn't mean it was the original size. It's a very old belt. But anyway, we're going to see, we're going to know really quickly if I ordered the right size because the machine will tell us. Okay, so how am I going to put this on? We're going to go in the reverse of how we took it off, took the old belt off. I'm going to come over here and we'll turn, get some of this out of our way. We're going to turn the machine so you guys can see. Okay, we'll just do the opposite. I'm going to turn the belt on its edge, okay, not on the flat side like that, on the edge, and I'm going to come right there. And then I'm going to turn to the left flat, and look at that. It's going to slide over, and there it goes right into the groove of that hand wheel. Now, if you're not sure if you have it in that groove, be patient, because you can also see the groove from another angle, this one. Okay, now, if your belt seems way too short, it could be that you don't have it in the right spot. You probably have it right up here, okay? Because if you look at your hand wheel, right, you have this big sort of rim here, and then it drops down, and it drops down again for the groove of the, let's get some close up here, for the groove where the belt is going to go. Yeah, so I need my pointer. So you have the rim, I call it the rim of the hand wheel, then it drops down right here, but then it drops once more, and that is where your belt is going to go. Okay, it's an indentation or groove. That's where it needs to be so that you know you have the right size. Now, notice that the belt, zoom back out, the belt may look too short, but look where my bracket is, right? So now I want to lower the bracket. Or, excuse me, raise the bracket. Did I say lower? Yeah. Do what I said, but the reverse. So, you know, the gravity had pulled it down. So I want to raise the bracket up, okay? And I'm going to tilt the motor just a bit. And now, what do we have here? Huh. All right. What I see is I have got my bracket all the way up. Okay, so I can't lower it anymore. And the question is, do I have enough slack? Because if the belt is too tight, and I've told all of you this in the past, if a belt is too tight, it can really shorten dramatically the life of your motor. It puts undue stress on the motor. Okay? If it's too loose, it'll just slip. So, we're going to see. Now, before I tighten that bolt, I do have some give. Remember, it should not be drum tight. You should be able to push in a 1/4 of an inch, give or take. So, I'm gonna make sure that my bracket is all the way up. And before you do that, remember, double check. Make sure that the belt is in the groove of your hand wheel. If it's somewhere else, you're going to be off. And it's going to fight with you because it's waiting for you to figure out why things aren't working. So I'm going to position my bracket in the highest position. And then I'm going to turn the bolt. And sometimes when you snug your bolt in, things can actually either get tighter or looser depending on where your motor bracket is. Okay. So I'm going to turn, and I want that bolt a little tighter than I normally tighten things. Now, when I push in, do I have any room? Let's see. Turn that where you guys can see a little. I'm pushing in. Yeah, I can push in. It's not overly tight. Now, I expected a little bit larger belt than what I'm seeing here. So why did I get that? Sometimes when you order something like a belt, it is supposed to come in the size that you ordered. Some of the belts that you get will have markings on them. They'll actually have numbers, and some will not. So this one is even smaller. The other size that I ordered was even smaller. So this is going to work, I believe. It is going to work fine, but I am noticing that, okay. So let's come back around. Now remember, I have not tightened my, my clutch washer since I was doing that bobbin winding. And that's fine because I want to test it. I want to hear what it sounds like without engaging the needle first. Well, let's do that. Now I can plug my power source back into the machine here because I'm done playing with the motor and the motor pulley. All right, let's see what it wants to do. While, again, this is it, I'm not pushing in and engaging my bobbin winder, but I have not engaged the needle yet. Sounds very happy. I like that sound. I can even turn it around. How about that, guys? I have a revolving machine with a very quiet motor. That's really nice to hear. I don't know if you guys remember when I first got this machine before I overhauled the motor was making a lot of groaning and moaning sounds. It was not a happy motor because it needed lubrication. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and we'll get the clutch knob snugged back. Just I'm holding my hand wheel, and that's it. Just snugged it back. And we'll go ahead and take some fabric. This is I think this is the last fabric. I ended up doing a bunch of layers when I was testing the stitches, and I was using the old belt. I was waiting for the new belt to come in to get shipped to me. So I'm going to turn, I have just 2 layers right now. And the reason I'm doing this, I'm not really checking, I already know my stitches look great. I'm not worried about that. What I am trying to ascertain is, first thing I need to do is find out what my thread's doing. What is it up to here? Almost unthreaded my needle. All right. So I'm not worried about my stitches right now. What I want to hear is I want to make sure that the belt is going to behave and do what I need it to do. Now that we are ready to sew, the machine is going to be under load. Now the motor is not just turning that hand wheel for, say, bobbin winding. Now it needs to actually turn the whole drive shaft, and it should, but I just like to test it under different conditions, you might say. Okay, and we've got long stitch, and let's see here. Oh, that's much better. It's so nice and quiet. Yeah. That's now you may, in any motor, sometimes you'll hear a little sound. This is particularly noteworthy with vintage Singers for reasons that aren't clear to me. It may have to do with how their motors were engineered, but even when they were new, sometimes when you're wanting to start off like I am now, well, actually, yeah, it didn't even, sometimes they'll give you a little, they'll hesitate and you want to take your, depends on whether you're right-handed or not, but you take a hand and you just sort of gently roll the hand wheel, and it's called spooling, and that normally will get your machine going. But this one is very happy. We'll even try it going fast. All right. Okay, that apparently that is a happy machine, a happy motor, a happy belt, and this belt does fit, but just barely. I didn't have a lot of extra room, but that's fine. Again, that's what that bracket is for. So my next order, I'm going to get another order of belts, slightly longer. When I ordered this belt, the larger of the one that, like the one I just put on here, I ordered it based on what the Singer 99K calls for, and unfortunately, I don't know if the sizing was exact from the supplier. I've had really good luck with the supplier, though. I'm not automatically ready to blame my supplier. Of course, they don't actually make the belts, but you can see the stitches just look great, whether I was sewing slow or fast. So there we go. This machine is ready. It is ready to find a new home, being listed. And again, if you are in the market for a solid vintage sewing machine that is strong like a tractor, but maybe you don't have as much room, maybe you already have a bunch of machines, I don't know. But if you want a machine in a case and you can't find the 66, or maybe you say, I don't need the 66, I just need something that's powerful and compact, a little squatty, then the Singer 99K or its successor, the 185 or 185K, these machines are amazing, and they don't cost that much when you are looking for vintage machines. They shouldn't. They're plentiful. They did make tables to fit them. You can find tables for them if you want. But again, they are simple but mighty, and I think I have shown this. I'm pretty sure I put this in one of my favorite machines, and that's why, you know, it's easy to say, well, what is your favorite machine? I have many favorites depending on what you are wanting to work on. So there you go. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. Just click the subscribe button. And if you would like to donate to my channel and help me get more resources to get more machines so I can rescue them and put them on the channel here, show some of the techniques, feel free to click on the link of the video where it says buy me a coffee, and you can buy me as many or a few coffees as you wish, and it would really help out as I branch out and try to scale up getting more machines rescued, just like that filthy, forlorn machine you see behind here. Yes, your eyes do not deceive you. You are looking at the backside, the filthy backside, and the melted and shorted out motor of a once proud Singer 201 that we hope will run proudly once more in the future. So thank you all for watching, and we will see you next time.